It's a God thing. But it is, because everything comes under His control. Recently, I was invited to attend a women's leaders luncheon at a very lovely venue in Raleigh, North Carolina. I got dressed to go and drove up to the venue and walked in, and there was no one there. It turned out that the event had been canceled, but somehow I hadn't gotten the notice. I looked, and there was another woman who looked like she was dressed up to go to an event, and I called out to her, and I said, "Were you going to that luncheon?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, me too. You want to have lunch together?" So we did, and it turned out to be what we often call a God thing. It seemed like she'd driven from a significant amount of miles to get there, and we had a wonderful time together, and it turned out that there were some ways that we could be of assistance to each other. And I was thinking about it, how often when good things happen, do we say, it's a God thing. But, in the Word, it also says that we make our plans and the Lord plans our steps. And sometimes our steps take us into things that are not so good. And how many times do we use that situation and say, it's a God thing? But it is, because everything comes under His control. But He also tells us that we can do all things through Him who strengthens us. So when things are tough, I got an email today from a client saying, "This year has been even more difficult than last, but I know God has a plan." So if you're going through a difficult time, just remember that you are not alone. God loves you. He will be with you. And He's doing things through this challenging time that you can't even begin to understand now. But as I've said before, one of the things about getting older is that I can see things that happen now that never would have happened if something that didn't seem like a God thing happened even decades ago. So regardless of your circumstances, remember, you are not alone.